All right, guys, today we got another one of Leif's old bicycle locks. This is a Rasmus, and it's a hinge. It rotates right there. These things are made in Germany, probably East Germany, be my guess, since it doesn't have a W in front of that. Yeah. Anyway, really weird. Yeah, you can see it hinges out of there, but this is the weird part. By the way, we do have a key. So when we take a look at this guy, though, I looked in there with a flashlight. It looks like a normal lock. This looks like the Bible, and there should be pins, protruding down into that kind of round keyway, but there's nothing. And then there's also a little notch here, which leads you to believe it's not an alloy because, they don't have little notches like that. And also there's no discs, just a dark cavern. So you can see I'm kind of ready to cheat here. And the way I'm going to cheat is... got the lock cam fired up. Let's go ahead and clamp him in the vise. Slide the lock cam in there and see what we have here. Or at least try to see what we have here. Then see if we have a chance of beating it. All right, so here we go. And let's see what we got. Focus is not too bad. All right, right in the very front, I'm looking to see that there's that notch I was talking about. And you can see that there are two sleeves, an inner sleeve with a notch cut in it, and then the outer sleeve with those those striations from wear of rotating. So it looks like the inner sleeve has to rotate. And then I got a glance at some bad news, at least for me anyway, and that would be that center post. Yeah, those are really difficult to work around, and I know why they put them there, to rob us of working space, but we're going to have to figure that out. And then I think obvious to everybody are those three shiny things, and they look like they are different widths for some reason. Let's see if I can angle this a little bit. Okay, they're not plungers. They look like, if I get it to focus, they look like sliders. See, that's a little better view right there on that one on the bottom left. Looks like it slides in and out. Then they probably have to be pushed down, kind of like a dimple lock, down to different depths. And we got to work around that shaft and tension it at the same time. This could be a lot of fun. I think the best way to handle this is try to find an old blank key that will fit in here. I'm probably going to have to do some filing. So let me grab my key box, which probably not by coincidence, Leif sent to me. And right here we go. And sort through here, find some keys that might fit in this keyway. Yeah, it's not going to be that one. And see if we can file something down to fit in there. All right, here's my plan. This key, the shaft, looks like it will fit inside of that hole. I've only got two like this, so I'm going to have two tries at it. It won't fit, obviously, because the part of the key is too tall. So I'm going to file this down, and here's what my hope is. My hope is that all three of those plungers have to simply be pushed down out of the way. If not, the backup plan is, once I get this to fit, then I can convert this into a bump key, so I can apply very slight pressure and then tap it to move those three plungers. Now, if they have a strong spring, we're screwed, but I'm way ahead of myself. Let's file this down and first get it to fit inside of that keyway. All right, this turned out to be a little bit more of an ordeal than I thought. At first, I tried the keys and getting the correct diameter to go into there. I had made a couple mistakes there. And then I discovered that the shaft, it turns out to be a very thin wall in order to get something to go in there, but it didn't work. So then I came up with this guy. It is a piece of 4mm stainless steel tubing that I basically turned into kind of a bump key. And the idea was to put him in there and on the end of a drill, and then he would spin around and then really irritate the heck out of those plungers. But, of course, there's no way. My idea was to kind of cockeye it a little bit to get it to tension. I got no luck on that. And then it occurred to me, I'm not wrapping my head around this thing totally. So I went back to one of my first keys that I tried to use as a bump key, and this is the only one that really kind of fits in there the way it's supposed to, and it is spring loaded. Doesn't work, but I kept trying to turn it clockwise, and I got to thinking, what happens if I try to turn it counterclockwise? And nothing. But if I bump it like I originally had the idea to do, and I'll just use this as my bump hammer, and it does rotate. And it doesn't open. Now we screwed up. Well, I broke it, but we got an open. I don't think we broke it. I think this is how it's supposed to work. Let me see if I can get the key out of there. Probably not. Probably have to bump it back the other way now. All right, let me bump it back the other way, and then we'll pull the original key out and take a look. But so far, it seems to have worked, so I should probably put it back in there. Bump it closed. Bump it locked. Pull the key out. And now the core doesn't come out, but it does block the keyway. So that's how that thing works. The lock body itself actually fits into that little groove right there. Let's take a look at the key. All right, this turned out to be very similar. I noticed this little cut on the end here. Mine did not have a cut until I beat it with that thing several times and it knocked that notch there. I did not cut that there, just from constantly whacking it. So there's something in there preventing this from going too deep. Fortunately, the wall thickness on this key was so thin, I was able to bend it off. You can see a little piece of it still in there. But anyway, that's how that works. Let's double check here. And that works a lot smoother than my bump key. Anyway, we got into an awful lot of trouble to get into this old lock. Quite innovative, I've got to say. I've never seen the core completely remove in a bicycle lock. It just seems like if you lose this, man, you're totally hosed. Anyway, guys, appreciate your time. Stay safe, stay legal. Leif, thanks for sending this dude in. That is so weird. All right, guys, looking at this a little more closely, another question to come up, how it works, and it took me a second to figure this out. Obviously, key in, and it's open now, so it opens in the counterclockwise direction. But you see the little pin there? It's locked into the body. There's also two other ones, one there and one right there. And all you need to do is push them down. At this angle, they don't look to be different widths, just when we looked inside with the lock cam. Anyway, you do have to push them to disengage them from the body, and it's spring-loaded, and that's what we were bumping. So that pushes them all down, and then you can rotate this. So that little flange right there is what holds this inside of the lock body, and that's what keeps the shackle closed. And then when you want to unlock it, you have to rotate it to align that, and then the whole thing slides out through that slot. So very cool design, very simple, and I think it would be pretty easy to make a bypass key that would probably fit all of these locks. But, you know, that's 70 years ago. Give me a break. Thanks, guys.